let's flip them. And I think that's number one, the best thing that Erik Neander did during the offseason.
No, that was really key. There were one or more offseason signing mistakes that we'll get to, but that was a good move, a shrewd move for Erik Neander. And it makes me think,
you are Locked On Rays, your daily Tampa Bay Rays podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome into Locked On Rays, your daily podcast covering everything Tampa Bay Rays, from game analysis to player interviews. We've got you covered with all the latest news and insights. My name is Kevin Weiss.
I'm Ulises Sambrano,
bringing you expert analysis and passionate discussions about our beloved Rays.
Whether you're a diehard fan who vividly remembers the longest game 162 just like us,
or you remember the early Devil Ray days of Wade Boggs and Carl Crawford,
we're here to break down every play, every trade, and every milestone. In fact, this is our 6th season covering the Rays daily.
And every season up until 2024, they've gone to the playoffs, but you can still grab your favorite Rays gear, settle in, and subscribe to our Locked On Rays YouTube channel and other podcast platforms. You can also find us on X and Instagram at Locked On Rays.
This episode is brought to you by Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase.
All right, on today's show, not a mailbag episode because we're going to save that for our buddy Evan Klosky later on in the week, but not a player review either. How about a general manager review? Kevin Cash, Erik Neander, how they did, how we would evaluate their performance in 2024. I mean, they are a tandem bunch. They're peanut butter and jelly. It's a package deal as far as Stu Sternberg and the Rays shot callers are concerned. So I'll just throw that out there.
Yeah, I like that. We could do it one went right first with both of these guys.
Sounds good.
If I have to do one for Erik Neander right away, great job, Erik. I know you're listening. Hit that like button. Erik always forgets to like that button. He's not always on that like button. Erik, come on, hit that like button. Yeah,
he's got a million things to do. He doesn't text quite as much as Stu Sternberg, but he's still engaged. He listens in the background. He's engaged. That is a fact, actually. We have confirmed that with multiple sources.
That is true. Erik, you did a fantastic job using $1.5 million and giving it to Ahmed Rosario.
Yes.
That was chef's kiss. That was one of the best moves of the season to start the 2024 season, and one that did not get any airplay whatsoever in mainstream media. And I think it gave a little bit of hope in the beginning for that offense when he was playing and how good he was playing, that you could see, him hopefully having a good effect on his teammates around him. You never heard anything bad. Seemed like the extreme professional, and he did his best. And when that was no longer needed, all right, well, let's flip him. And I think that's number one, the best thing that Erik Neander did during the offseason.
No, that was really key. There were one or more offseason signing mistakes that we'll get to. But that was a good move, a shrewd move for Erik Neander. And it makes me think, why wasn't anybody else willing to offer Ahmed Rosario not just $1.5 million, but $4 million, $5 million, $6 million, something? I mean, that is the type of guy that he is going to need to find this offseason, or multiples of that guy that for one reason or another, that individual player or players are getting overlooked, and you can sign them for $1.5 to 2.5, what have you. As far as my went right, I will kind of combine this for Neander and Cash. As much criticism as was levied with the quote unquote fire sale due to the underperformance of the team. I'm sure it wasn't Erik Neander's decision alone. I'm sure it was a group collaborative effort, and maybe from above of, hey, we got to cut payroll. We got to do something here because this payroll that we have, record high for opening day for the Rays, not leading to the results that we intended. And I know we can maybe poo-poo that it was too many low A, high A prospects versus guys who have marinated a little bit more in the minors. The bunch of guys that they added, and some of those trades that, some of the experts out there consider windfalls of, I don't know how you got this much in return for Jason Adam, for example, seems to be a windfall for the future and gives the Rays the top-ranked farm system, or way up there as one of the top farm systems. So hopefully, expectedly, they'll be in really good shape for years and years to come. And then tied into that with Kevin Cash, despite the Rays getting rid of Paredes and Eflin and Randy and Adam and others, the team still basically was just as good as they were before having all those, or with having all those guys. They still held up that record, and their run prevention actually improved in the second half of the season. So I would say that's a pat on the back to Kevin Cash for keeping the ship, it didn't become the White Sox. They still held court at mid, even after all those moves were made.
Yeah, no, I feel like with the way that he was able to coalesce those group of players before the fire sale and after, it shows that Kevin Cash knows how to manage a room full of expectations, of egos, of personalities. He's shown that time and time again. You have to keep a team together when there's a pandemic and there's no fans in the stands, and you have to keep a team together when there are rumblings about, well, do I want to wear this thing promoting this thing or not? You have to keep a room together when your star shortstop is just being a bad teammate to people. You have to keep the room together when that star shortstop now has allegations and is leaving the team and could potentially be a felon in the upcoming months. You have to keep the team together through that. And when you're losing franchise-type players like Randy Arozarena, you have to keep the team together.
You have to keep the team together when two of your standout players, your cornerstones, aren't getting along because their wives aren't getting along because one of them didn't invite the other to a kid's birthday party.
Exactly. You have to keep the room together, the team together. And Kevin Cash, yet again, this might have been his most solid work. Maybe take out the COVID year, because I think, when you're going through a pandemic that's killing people, maybe that's actually number one most difficult thing. But this one is a close second, because the team was underperforming. There was no good vibes, and the seal clappers are always like, they're gonna turn it around, and then you're like, yeah, but what are you looking at? Because we're all looking at the same team, and it's not gonna pick up. It's not gonna pick up. But he was able to do that, and in fact, they overperformed their expected record. I mean, they ended up with an 80 and 82 record, but they really should have been at a 74 and 88 clip. 74
I believe it.
An 88 clip. You know why you believe it? Because you feel it. Those 80 wins, they feel kind of treacherous, don't they? Didn't this season actually feel like a 74 win team? That's because it should have been.
Yeah, especially when you consider the competition and the run differential between runs scored and runs against. It's kind of remarkable that the Rays wound up with the big 8-0 at the end of the day. I don't know how they did it, but they managed one way or another. All right, we'll get to what went wrong with Kevin Cash and Erik Neander. But first, we have to tell the audience something very important. Something's very important, including PrizePicks. PrizePicks is the best place to get real money sports action. With over 10 million members and billions of dollars in awarded winnings, PrizePicks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. You just pick more or less on at least 2 players for a shot to win up to 100 times your cash. Run your game all season long on PrizePicks. Want to play PrizePicks alongside Drewski, one of my personal faves, Joe Budden, and MMA champ Sean O'Malley? You can now find what they call community plays under the promos tab of the app to view entries from some of the biggest names in the PrizePicks community each week. PrizePicks, they put their members first. So all withdrawals are fast, safe, and secure. And when your picks hit, when my picks hit, you get your money. I get my money in as quick as 15 minutes. Sign up today and get $50 instantly. When you play $5, you don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It is guaranteed. So go ahead, download the app today and use code LOCKEDONMLB to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. That is code LOCKEDONMLB. PrizePicks. Run your game.
Kevin, I don't know if people that haven't seen you in real life, they know that you're a pretty damn tall guy, right? Like, do people know that? Or is it usually like, oh my gosh, I didn't know you were that tall?
Yeah, it's usually the latter, I would say.
I think so too. And as a tall guy, do you usually get back pain and like, your joints hurt a little bit?
I get pain from all over. Got a torn meniscus right now.
There you go. Exactly. So I know where you got to go and where you're going. If you are not 6'18", like Kevin is, okay, and you're just normal stature, guess what? Your bones can also hurt and your body's aching for some nice touches, and you can go get your alignment done at the joint. There is no scheduling to be done. You can really just walk in there and be like, hey, please, can you see me right now? Because I need it. And they're going to be like, yes. And then you're going to be like, well, this is going to be very difficult because of my insurance. They're going to be like, no. No insurance hassle at all. This is super, super simple. We keep our prices affordable and we cut out the middlemen. No insurance hassles here. So today, because you're a Rays fan and because you're a Bucks fan, guess what? You're going to get a tremendous deal with them. Go get it for $19. You go to Buccaneers.com. You check out the contest and promotions section under the fans tab, and you download this offer. Less than $20. $19. A great deal for great fans. Head to thejoint.com to find your nearest Tampa area location today.
Watch out, ladies. I know Ulises was talking about bragging on my height. I am married presently, so back off. All right. What went wrong with Kevin Cash and Erik Neander?
Boy.
Can I go ahead and just combine my what went wrong into one thing?
Yeah, sure.
It has to do with behind the plate.
Oh my God.
One, why did Alex Jackson keep getting opportunities and playing time? That's directed at Kevin Cash. 2, why was Alex Jackson on the roster for this period of time, that length of time? That's on Erik Neander. Why didn't you do anything about the catcher depth and address it in the offseason and going into the season? That's on Erik Neander. So I would say that was the elephant in the room, was the Jackson debacle. And I guess it kind of goes back to, in their defense, was putting all your eggs in the Rene Pinto basket, and that
which leads me to my Erik Neander questions of what egregious, non-forgivable thing did Rene Pinto do?
Yes,
that took him out of this. He was your only catcher the whole offseason after having a really good month and a half in MLB, finally giving him the chance. He takes Christian Bethancourt's job, right under him. He's your only catcher throughout the whole offseason. You don't do anything until basically the day before opening day when you get Ben Rortvedt. And after a month of not great play, although he had a 700 something OPS, by the way, and a couple home runs, he gets demoted to AAA and never sees the major leagues again. Mm-hmm. What happened? That cannot be explained. And I really wish somebody that had a mic in front of their faces would ask that question. It needs to be asked. It's weird, people. It's not like a normal. It's weird. You had one catcher. You didn't do anything about it. You gave him 1 month after solid play the year before. Gone.
Yes.
It's odd.
No, it was an issue for sure. And if I'll also add a couple other things, and look, I thought it was a smart signing at the time and it didn't work out. So, but ultimately it falls to the general manager for signing Phil Maton and him not working out. And just 30,000 foot view, big picture, it's the fact that you have an opening day payroll of $96 million, franchise high, and you ultimately finish the season 80-82. So clearly, if we're just looking at it from that point, it didn't work out. And then I'm just sort of going in some different places here, but the whole runners in scoring position, that being an ongoing problem this season, what does it go back to? Is it fundamentals? Is it talent? Is it focus? Is it youth? Is it coaching? Is it a combination thereof? Because after the season, when the Rays did their postmortem press conference, I think it was it was just Neander. He was on the podium by himself, said, Hey, we got to go back and we really got to incentivize some of these things in spring training. And my thought is, why weren't you doing these things previously? There were some quotes throughout the season as far as that they gave little bits and pieces that, maybe some of the coaching wasn't up to snuff, that maybe some things were lost in translation of, wait, you weren't doing that in the first place? And to me, that's an issue. And they decide to bring back the entire coaching staff back. Maybe it's one of those things of, okay, you're on notice now, so you better work hard and do everything that needs to be done to make sure this organization is productive. So I just wanted to throw those things out there as well.
Yeah, and honestly, I think if you're in baseball or any other professional sporting team professionally as a coach, it's as soon as you get that contract, that there's an expiration date on it. Like nobody's there forever, so you're gonna get fired one way or another. Like it's just gonna happen. So maybe this is the last go around with Motola or maybe some other people there as well. But the runners in scoring position, you can also add, was it just random luck? Was it just bad luck that they also just could not hack it this year? Maybe that just turns it around completely.
Or maybe it's a whole approach thing too of how they're teaching their players.
Exactly. I think it's a combination of everything, really. I think the people that are, too stuck on StatCast and saying it's just random luck, I feel like, well, you can also watch the game too and see that, nobody has a damn 2-strike approach here. And there are other players in the league that do that. Aaron Judge does that. And I know that he is a tremendous ball player, but, Yandy Diaz can do that. There in your own team, there are players that can shorten and Harold Ramirez was a great example of that. I'm going to give you your my first 2 big whacks, and then after that, I'm going to protect and hopefully do something that can benefit the whole team. The fundamentals, yeah, you're right. That could be definitely an option here, but an overexposure of other players too. Dylan Carlson, Johnny DeLuca. Obviously, Alex Jackson. I think that not only falls first on Neander because he is roster construction master, the Wizard of Oz. He's doing the things. He's the puppeteer. But also Kevin Cash, I mean, you might not have to play him that often, right? You don't have to stick with them that much. Maybe you can have a conversation with Erik and the front office and company, but that was just awful to keep. I mean, Kevin, you had days where the lineup 5 through 9, it was just going to be a snooze fest. It was just going to be bad. Like, if you had a blooper or a walk, you celebrated it from 5 to 9. You can't. That team is not going anywhere.
I've said it. The team was unwatchable for many parts of the season. And the other thing I want to touch on, and I don't know if there's anybody in particular to blame for this except maybe the players themselves, but some of the team chemistry and behavioral issues. We joked and mentioned it, the whole Randy Yandy thing, the fact that Jose Siri had to be benched a couple of times, the fact that Kevin Cash earlier on in the season admitted and acknowledged there's something not right with this group. And I feel like he didn't shy away from trying to take care of it early. So I guess that's, in the what went right department of him actually taking the initiative and seeing it early on. And then, he took shots at the team in the media as well as to some of the issues that were going on. So at least he didn't keep it totally closed door. He tried to light a fire under these guys. Did it ultimately work? I don't know. I guess maybe to some extent, but the clubhouse things that were unveiled throughout the season, I don't know. That just has to get in control, because this is an organization that is built on team first, not me first. Some of the parts, everybody coming together, getting along, having fun, enjoying themselves. And that's what makes the Rays a special organization compared to, I don't know, the New York Yankees, for example.
Maybe that's why there was a fire sale too.
Yeah.
Not only did they not believe in the team being able to really hack it, and what they could get was going to be really helping them in 25, 26, 27, actually 26, 27, 28, probably most likely. But hey, these guys don't get along. Like, Eflin does not get along with this guy, and Paredes doesn't get along with Yandy, and Yandy doesn't get along with Randy, and Randy doesn't get along with Siri. Like,
or nobody's getting along because we're not playing up to our expectations, and everybody's pressured and stressed and blaming each other for some of the issues.
So let's switch it up. And hopefully we get better luck. But I know that if you always want better luck in getting the right tickets, man, you got to go to Gametime, Kev.
That is true. Yeah, Gametime. They're an authorized ticket marketplace of Major League Baseball, which makes getting tickets faster and easier. Prices on the Gametime app, actually, they go down the closer it gets to the first pitch, with killer last-minute ticket deals, all-in prices, views from your seat, and their lowest price guarantee. Gametime, they take the guesswork out of buying MLB tickets. What's cool about Gametime? Well, last-minute tickets, flash deals, zone deals, views from all seats in the venue, and lowest price guarantee, event cancellation protection, job loss protection, and so much more. Find another ticketing app that can do that. I just dare you to try to find that. But what you should do is check out Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONMLB, LOCKEDON MLB, for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off. Download Gametime today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. All right. Future with the team for Erik Neander and Kevin Cash. This should pretty much be an easy one, because the expectation, and based on what we've learned and read, is that these two buddies will be working for the Rays, getting Rays paychecks well or definitely into the new stadium in St. Petersburg come 2028.
Yeah, they're going to be there for 2028. So at least 25, 26, 27, 28. So 4 more seasons, you'll see this dynamic duo. That's their future. Yeah. They will be here. The contract terms for both of them were never revealed. I kind of scoured the internet for a while, could not find any figures at all.
Who's making more money in your opinion, Neander or Cash? Or they have the same exact contract terms?
Actually,
That could be it.
wouldn't that be a nice buddy cop kind of theme for them?
Yeah.
Actually, didn't Friends also have that like contract negotiations where they were like $1 million an episode for all of us, and then they got
Basically,
it because they were friends.
Hey.
Yeah. For kids, Friends was a great '90s show.
Yes,
wow, we're old.
What's better, Seinfeld or Friends? Different shows. But
Different shows.
That's when NBC had it rolling.
God, they had it rolling. Yeah, so the future with the team, they're locked in. I do want to say something that you had put out on our sheet as a positive. The development of little known relievers and pickups such as Oseta, Rodriguez, Biggie, Montgomery, like that I think should definitely have some spotlight on the good side.
Oh yeah, for sure. And those guys, that's part of what the Rays do. They identify those little known individuals, particular relievers, and they wind up shining for the team, especially when you have a guy like Pete Fairbanks and others that get injured or other guys that underperform, and you can have these guys rotate in and make an impact. Before we bring out the red pin, not to add too much bias to this, but want to get the listeners' takes, and maybe this directs us in one position or another. We put it out on X what the folks out there would grade Cash and Neander, and just rolling through a couple of these here. Chris Snyder says, Kevin Cash, I give a B. Erik Neander an A based on the trade value. Hunter Morgan gives Neander a C-. This team looked average, uninspiring on paper going into the year, and that's exactly how they performed. Cash, a B, getting that roster to 80 wins wasn't easy, but he again cost games due to over-managing, especially the bullpen. Clancy71 says D, just for keeping Jackson up for so long. And then Danny Perez gives the guys a C.
I'm not going to sugarcoat it at all. I think given the expectations that are within the fandom, and they themselves, because they have said that they're out to win a championship, they're not content with losing in the wild card round. If not, go check out their 2023 postseason conference. I think the nicest I could be is giving them a 80, B-.
Yeah.
For both of them. For Cash, I feel like his hands were a bit tied with the underperformance and the roster construction. That was not his fault, but there has to be some way that a manager has to take, the bullpen usage, for example. And boy, the bullpen kind of blew up on him many times April, May, and half of June.
Right.
It was like every 3 games, a guy would just collapse. A different guy would collapse. So, yeah, could that happen? Sure, but it's also like you're picking these guys, man. Like you're picking these lanes for them. So what's going on here? So I'll go with a B-, like an 80. I really want to go C, but I'm not going to be that mean.
Yes.
I'll put an 80 for both.
Yeah, I'll give them a B- as well. I'll bump it up to an 81 for both of them. And it makes it really tough because all the adversity this organization has gone through, like being without Wander, you're basically subtracting 5-6 wins that you expected, at least 5-6 wins that you were expecting to have almost in perpetuity for a decade plus. And then you have other injuries and issues pile up. Like, for example, Shane McClanahan, Cy Young caliber pitcher. That's 10 wins right there between Wander and Shane, at least, that you have to try to account for. And what do you have to do to try to account for it? You got to spend more money here and try to patch together and make it work. And it just didn't work this time. So
Phil Maton didn't work. Aaron Savali didn't work. Alex Jackson didn't work. I know we are seeing Ben Rortvedt with rose-colored lenses because of the huge contrast that every catching duo had with him.
If
Ben
not for
Rorvet-
him stepping up and
early in the year, but like,
expectations,
look at Ben Rorvet's final line. Like, it's not something fantastic out of this world. It's okay, but we're not focusing on Ben Rorvet as much as we probably would because of the comparison is so dark on the other side. But that was his pickup. He never so again, what happened with Rene Pinto? It's a lot of man, I cannot wait until that damn book comes out that Topkin writes about whatever happened. The chapter with Rene Pinto and the front office is going to just be finger licking good for gossip.
Yeah, and Ben Rorvet, if we're being honest, he's a backup catcher. He should not be getting the number one reps. So that falls on the front office. And Cash, you got to play with the ingredients you're dealt at the end of the day. And I'm sure he has a part of it, but ultimately, if you don't have what you need to win on the field, it's going to be an issue for sure. So just want to throw that out there. All right. Hope you all have a wonderful day. Stay safe. Thank you for making us your first listen for your second fine lockdown MLB. You can check that out with Sully, our buddy. He's got it all covered every single day. Find that program on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts.